Hello, once again, students. Welcome back. And again, these slides are for my management of financial services students. So I'll be covering the credit card process followed by the credit card organizations now. Since you all must be waiting for these slides, so let's complete the topic. Earlier, I covered the topic of plastic money, which was obviously related with the same. This topic is an extension of plastic money. Whereby we'll be explaining in detail how the transaction which you actually do it through a credit card is being executed and cleared by the credit card organizations. So let's begin with the first. Let's begin with the topic of the credit card process. So before I'll be starting with the credit card process, let's have a look upon the certain participants who are actually involved in the credit card process. So credit card process on the surface, the credit card transactions process seems quite simple. You move to any place, you just swipe the card and the transaction is done. It seems looks so simple to it, but actually it involves a huge set of transactions which are recorded in microseconds that customer and the merchant banker are hardly aware about what is being working on the back end. Customers swipe their cards, and before they know, the transaction is complete. That's a simple process which everyone is aware about. Behind every swipe, however, profoundly more complex procedure than what meets the eye. In fact, sliding the card and signing the receipt are the only final and first and final steps of a complicated procedure. And the whole process through it happen is merely few seconds, involves multiple stages and several factors working behind the scenes. So through this presentation, I'll be discussing the whole process, complicated process, multiple stages involved at the back end of your swipe and the transaction receipt you receive. Whereby, before starting about the credit card process, let's discuss about the participants who are involved in credit card process. First and foremost is the credit card holder, obviously the one or the customer or the client who will be carrying this credit card, and merchant, that is the one to whom he'll be presenting this card. That could be a store or a vendor or any kind of service provider for who sells the goods and services. You'll be presenting your card to that merchant. Acquiring bank or merchant bank, that is responsible for receiving the payment, authorizing the request from the merchant. Basically, I can say it's a merchant's bank. It's a merchant bank to whom you present your card. And acquiring or service provider, it's a service or the device that allows the merchants to accept the credit cards as well as sends the credit card details to the credit card network. The credit card network plays a most important role in this whole process. Credit card network or the association member, these are the one who actually execute your whole deal between the merchant banks and the issuing bank, and in between the working person is the credit card network. Examples of credit card network are like MasterCard, Visa, Discover, and American Express. So issuing bank or I can say the credit card issuer, that is the financial institution that issued the credit card involved in the transaction. It receives the payment, authorizes the request from the credit card network, and either approves or declines the transaction. Let's begin with the process now. So please remember we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 participants involved in the credit card transaction. So first, credit card transaction process involves authorization as the first stage. The merchant must obtain approval for the payment from the issuing bank. The first and foremost thing, the cardholder presents its credit card for payment to the merchant at the point of sale. After swiping the card on the point of sale, that is POS terminal, customers' credit card details are sent to the acquiring bank or the acquiring processor via internet connection or a phone line. Acquiring bank or the processor forwards the credit card details to credit card network. Credit card network clears the payments and requests the payment authorization from the issuing bank. The authorization request includes credit card network, expiry date, billing address for address verification system validation, your CVV number, that is credit card security code, payment amount. This is how it works. Card holder pays the merchant bank for the purchase with a credit card. Fine. And once the card is being swiped, Merchant sends the credit card details to the acquirer. This is the acquirer bank. This is the acquirer bank. The acquirer bank in turns forward the same to the credit card network that such kind of transaction I have received, kindly approve the same. Credit card network requests the authorization, that is issuing bank, that is bank of the card holder who actually issued the card. That is, for example, let it be PNB, Punjab National Bank, and the merchant bank is SBI. So here SBI followed the request to credit card network. Here PNB will approve the same, that okay, this card is issued by us and details are authentic, and let's start with the process, or we authorize the transaction. Let's do the transaction in this case because it's being approved by the issuing bank. So the process involves cardholder, merchant, acquirer bank, credit card network, and issuing bank. Next is the stage of authentication. That is, the issuing bank verifies the validity of the customer's credit card using fraud protection tools such as the address verification service, security codes such as CVV, CVV2, CBC2, CID. Issuing banks receive the payment authorization request from the C credit card network. Credit card network provides issues the request to the issuing bank to clear the authorization for the same. Issuing banks validates the credit card number, checks the amount of available funds in the obviously in the cardholder's account, matches the billing address on the file, and validates the CVV number. Issuing banks approves or decline the transaction and sends back the appropriate response to the merchant through the same channels. Credit card network acquiring, we'll be following the same process first. Through this, we request for through this network, we requested for an authorization, and the same process will be followed once authorization is being approved and payment is being given to the merchant. Issuing bank approves and declines the transaction and sends back the appropriate response to the merchant through the same channels minded. Credit card network, acquiring bank, or the processor. Once the merchant receives the authorization, the issuing bank will place a hold in the amount of the purchase on the cardholder's account. Merchant's POS terminal will collect all approved authorization to be processed in the batch at the end of the business day. We don't. The merchant banks never process each transaction on the daily basis or in a minute you process the same. They execute the transaction in batches. So in a whole batch, the transaction at the end of the day is being tallied and authenticated. Merchant provides the customer a receipt to complete the sale. This is how the process goes on. Just look for the easy clarity look. First is issuing bank verifies the card information it receives from the credit card network. Issuing bank verifies that information he receives, that is CNN CNN जो provide किया उसको verify करता है, that's perfectly fine. If the funds are available, issuing bank sends an approval code to the merchant bank via same channel. This is merchant bank through the credit card network. Through the credit card network, the same code is being and the same approval is being given to the acquirer bank, and through the acquirer, it is being sent to the merchant. And the once the merchant receives the same, the payment terminal approved all the transactions in the batch. Merchant issues a sales receipt to the customer and complete the sale. So last is clearing and settlement. In the clearing and settlement stage, the transaction is posted to the cardholder's monthly credit card billing statement and the merchant statement. It occurs simultaneously with the settlement stage. At the end of each business day, merchant sends the approval authorization in a batch to the acquiring bank or the processor. Acquiring processor routes the batch information to the credit card network for settlement. Credit card network forwards each approved transaction to the appropriate issuing bank. Within 24 to 48 hours of the transaction, the issuing bank will transfer the funds less an interchange fee. Obviously, this fee is the only source of income. It's one of the source of income, not only. Fine, for which it shares with the credit card network. Credit card network pays the acquiring bank and acquiring processor their respective percentage from the remaining funds. Acquiring bank credit the merchant's account for the cardholder purchases, less a merchant discount. Issuing bank posts the transaction information to the cardholder's account. Cardholder receives the payments and pays the bill. This stands for once I present my card to the merchant's acquirer bank posts the same to the credit card network. Credit card network then gets it approved from the issuing bank. Once the issuing bank approves that, okay, this is being there, now the clearing and settlement is being be done. Okay, these were the theoretical approvals given by the one from the one end to the other end. Now, what will happen first is merchant sends a batch approved. That is amount of transactions he has received throughout the day. He'll send the whole batch approved from the to the acquirer. Now acquirer receives the entry, acquirer forward the whole batch to the credit card network. Now the credit card network will send to each approved particular issuing bank. जिसका जो बैंक होगा उसको send कर दे जाएंगे. Issuing bank will transfer the funds to the acquirer less the interchange fee. They'll transfer the funds. Credit card network pays its percentage of remaining funds to the acquirer bank. Acquirer credits a merchant. Fine. After having the merchant discount rate, issuing bank posts the transaction. The transaction is later posted in the cardholder account. So the cardholder will get to know through his statement. He'll be getting about these transactions. So this is the whole process behind once a swipe is being done on a POS machine till the moment you get a receipt. Back-end transactions which are run between the acquirer, CNN, and issuing bank, and again from the issuing to the credit card network and acquirer, and later making a clearing and settling all the accounts in 24 to 48 hours and showing the same transaction in cardholder account at the end of the day. So I wish you all good luck and God bless you all who are watching the same. And I shall be grateful if you can put a like and subscribe the channel. Thank you. Good luck.